Assalamualaikum and hi everyone, Madam Nadia here. So for today's PHYTIPS, I'm going to share you some tips on how to draw force diagram. Okay, so here's 5 tips for you. Tip number 1, focus on the charge that it asks you to do. Okay, for example, number 1, question 1 here asks you to draw vector diagram or force diagram on charge 1. So put your focus solely on Q1 here, charge 1. Okay, so that is tip number 1. Tip number 2, look at the charge surrounding. How many other charges are there? Okay, look at question number 1 here. Other than Q1, there's one other charge here. Okay, look at this one. Charge 1 is here. So surrounding charge 1 here, you have 2 other charge. Look at this. Okay, for this charge, surrounding it has 2 charges. Okay, for this positive charge, there are 3 charges surrounding it. Okay, the amount of charges surrounding the focus charge will determine on how many force that you will need to draw. Okay, remember that. So for in this case, you will sketch 3 force on this charge. For the case of this, so you have 2 surrounding charges, okay, on charge 1 here. So therefore you need to draw 2 forces for this charge. For this one, so you only have 1 other charges surrounding this Q1, charge 1. Therefore, you need to draw only 1 force. Okay, that is tip number 2. Tip number 3. Sign convention will decide whether the force is attractive or repulsive. Okay, so look at the sign. Negative and positive will attract. Positive and positive or negative and negative will repulse. So you draw the force according to that concept. Okay, so for charges more than 1, so you focus on each interaction separately. So first you look at 1 and 2 first and decide whether it's attract or repel, and then you look at 1 and 3 and then you decide the interaction whether the force is attract or repel. I did not mention 2 and 3 because you are focusing on charge 1. Okay, so the interaction between charge 1 and the other charges. Okay, Q3, Q2 and Q3 does not involve 1, so we can ignore those interaction. Okay, tips number 4. Now it's time for you to sketch the force. Okay, the important points to sketch the force is you must label the arrow, because arrow indicating the direction, whether it's to the left, right, up, down, or diagonally with an angle. Okay, and make sure you label the force with the correct numbering. For example, if you're labeling force 1 and 2, so the direction is to the left, make sure you label F1, 2 or F2, 1. Okay, depends on how you define the numbering. Okay, alright, so what's the difference between F1, 2 and F2, 1? Since they are the same direction. Okay, F1, 2 simply means force on charge 1 by charge 2, but F2, 1 means force by charge 2 on charge 1. So you can see that they are practically the same. Okay, so the important thing is to label them correctly. Right, the last tip number 5, is to make sure that when you sketch the force, they must be aligned with each other. For example, if you are if you're sketching force between this and this, make sure the direction align to the other charge. Okay, align with the other charge and align with the other charge. Okay, that's 5 tips for you in order for you to sketch force diagram. I hope this helps. Thank you.